James Walker-Powell for Fund Manager Friday, and today we've got Dan from Schroders, and Dan's going to explain a little bit about this fantastic weapon that he has in funds management called the private equity fund. Dan, tell us a little bit about private equity and who would it be suited towards?
Yeah, sure. So if you are a company raising money many years back, your only option really is to put your own capital in, collect your own capital, or to list on the stock exchange, like the ASX, for example. What private equity is effectively pooling money from investors to give the company an option to raise money without going onto a stock exchange, so significant money.
And how does the performance compare to, say, a listed type of vehicle?
Yeah, so, well, we do have performance data that we can draw on and we can look back on. So private equity compared to listed markets has outperformed significantly with less volatility over time. That doesn't mean it's...
So outperformed,
Yep.
Less risk.
Less risk. Now, that does come with a caveat. Now, traditionally, private equity, because you're giving your money to a business, that business is then doing whatever its business is with that money, it's harder to get that money back.
Right, okay.
So to access those higher returns, you're actually giving up what we call liquidity, the ability to get your money back quickly, as you do on the stock exchange.
So on one side of the ledger, we've got higher returns, lower volatility. On the other side, we've got liquidity.
Correct. Now, and it has delivered high returns. It may not always, I have to be very clear with that.
Of course you do.
Yep. But to access the potential for high returns or the historic high returns, you do have to give something up, and that is a bit of liquidity.
Just briefly, as opposed to the listed market, which is actually valued each day, how is private equity valued?
Yeah, okay. So private equity, it's different for each manager. We value our book, our collection of investments each month.
Right,
so
okay.
It actually takes us about a month to give you an accurate valuation of each investment in that portfolio each month, and then tell you what your total investment in our fund is actually worth. So some private equity managers will value annually, some quarterly, so each a bit different. As opposed to investing on the ASX, the value of your stock on the ASX is what determines your value. So it's live valuation based on how much money has been attracted to that investment. Private equity, we do the finances, we look at the value of the business, the book, the revenue, the cash flows, and we come up with a number that says this is what we think that business is worth, and then we tell you what the value of the portfolio is.
Fascinating. Well, it's James Walker-Powell for Fund Manager Friday. Thanks, Daniel, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.